today we are trying to understand how a user account can be created and how we can have access to the modules, and school can decide who has what access to the system, because this system is an advanced version. So it has almost all capabilities, and it is we need to be very careful in assigning roles and responsibility, which is also called access management. So it is possible that you have operation team, you have finance team, you have teachers, you have help desk who's always answering the parents coming in to the school. Therefore, possible that they need access to almost most of the access to the system, possibly read access or write access or a complete management. So today we will just go ahead with the user creation. Now I have logged in as an admin. As you see here, I'm an admin to this system, online campus. We go to security. Since I logged in as an admin, you will see almost all the modules. We get into security. Right. The reason I'm being asked is I have logged in a couple of minutes back. So that's the security layer where it is asking you to re-log into the system. Right, I'm in. So we get into security in order for us to create accounts and also create group and to give access to the system. As you see here on the left side, you have security. Once you click a drop down, you have list of things that you can do. So what I'll be doing today, I'll be demonstrating 3 types of user ID, which is going to be level 1, level 2, level 3. This is just an example, but school has a complete authority to do what level of segregation of duties. It is called SOD usually. So I click a user. So we click an account called L1, for example. So you can mention what access you want to give. Let's say student management, for example. You can fill in almost all the information. And here you can give what is the login ID you are planning to give. So I call it level 1 here. And password, you need to fix what you're trying to give. Password, let's say if you say, let's say level 1. So that password, I'm going to copy it here. For example, what I did, I have just copied the user ID password that I'm planning to give, level 1. So I create this account, I make it active. So likewise, I'll create another account. The reason I'm demonstrating the capabilities of the system. So I'm going to say level 2, L2. And the password is going to be same. I'll just add 2 number active. So let's say reports, for example, here reports we're planning to give the. I will create another account which is called L3. For example, TC reports. This level 3 should have access to TC reports. So I go here and I say L3, and the password which I saved, that's why I'm able to copy and paste that password. I just type a number against the password. So now you see almost all the accounts have been added here. So once these accounts are added, what we need to do is, in case if you have more accounts, if it's a big school or a medium-sized school, maybe you will have 10 to 50 or maybe 100 accounts to manage the system if you have multiple branches. So what we will do here is we will create group in order to set permissions so that next time a new user comes in, you can add the user. I'm going to demonstrate here. See, I have already created here, but I just wanted to demonstrate again. So it is L1, let's say test. And I saw 14 there, so I will add here the 14. What I see is the last record. I can add or I can skip. I will ask the system to manage, absolutely no problem. So I will add this group L2 test. L3 test, for example. So now I go back to the user. I have shown you here that we have created some accounts. The accounts are L1, L2, L3. It can be teachers, it can be a fee collector, or it can be operation administrator who's managing the school. So likewise, what I did, I created the groups. Now I'm going to show you how this can be utilized. Sometimes the groups are not listed here. Go to page 2, you will see, or you can find. Now what we will do now, since we have already created the user account, the groups, now we plan to give access to the groups. So we come to user group permission settings. Now we drop down, we will go and find the group. You see, it is a user group. It's not a user still. So what we will do, we will give student management as an example. We will not add rest of the access. You see, there are rest of the access within the student management. So we click save. We say this permission has been added. Now we will go back to test 2, and this time we will select student reports. So which means this group, whoever is part of this group will have access to only this. Save. Similarly, I'll go to level 3, the test, and I scroll down to demonstrate what access we can give. So this level 3 will be having access to review the TC reports and also have the statistic report. For example, now that the permissions are set against the user group and we have given permission. Now what is missing is the user does not know which group he belongs to. So now we will go back to this user. For example, we will say edit, and here we will mention what access he is part of. So he'll be part of level 1 test group, for example. Now the user has permission also which group he belongs to. So now 3, you see how it was synced to each other. Similarly, I'll go to the rest of the users, edit, and I will say you are part of L2 group. You see, I picked this one. Right. So similarly, we will do it for L3 user. I type here L3 and it brings in, I save. Now the user knows which group he belongs to, what access he has. Now the final permission that we need to set is which branch that the student will be, the staff who's authorized to see the information, whether it's going to be Jayanagar branch or whether it's going to be HBR branch. So let's say HBR branch, and we see here level 1, level 2, level 3, right? We pick this and we will say all these groups are required to log into this module, right? So we can also say this group is also authorized to manage. Let's do it later on. And as you see here, we will have also institutions and warehouse and curriculum. In the next call, we will set up and explain you what need to be done in order to have that access. So what I will be doing here now, I'll open a browser, Campus, Brainy Star. L1 see, the password was this one. So I remember, so I typed the password against this user ID. Now you see, when the user logs in, he or she is not able to see entire modules because we have restricted in that group. Now we click here. You see, it is asking for which branch he is. So the institution branch is not added here. So we go back to the system and we will say it's part of the institution. Please add these groups from the admin. Save, changes saved. I go back again to the user. In order for the changes to take place, the user has to re-log in. So we will ask the level 1 user to come back again. So the user is back. Now you see the access to the institution for Jayanagar branch is available. As I have demonstrated that we have only provided access to student management. You see that? When we go back to the system and cross check, go to the user and look for this user, edit, you will see that he is having access to only the student management, right? And also we can go through privilege in order to see what is the privilege he or she is having. You see here, I drop down, the rest of the access is not here because while we assign this access, we just restricted this user to have only this access. I hope it is clear. I'll just summarize again what we did. Similarly, when the L1 or L2, L3 user logs in, they get only access to what has been granted. So if the L2 logs in, let's go also see if we have any challenges. You see only student management here. Now this is L1 user. Now we log off, log out, and then come back as L2 user. Okay, I log into this account. Okay, so the password was 2 actually. Okay, so you see now you logged in as L2 user. You will see only student affairs, which we gave permission to. Now this time you will see only student reports. You see? Now I go back to the system as an admin. I select I go back to the student. Under users, I go back again. I go back to the privilege of this user, level 2. You see within student, he does not have, she does not have access to this. Only access to student reports. When I go back as a user, I logged in. You see only student reports. There is no TC, there is no statistic right? Similarly, we go back to L3 student. Right. So I now logged in as L3 user. Now I should only have TC report access and statistic access. So I log in here, you see whatever access we have given into the system, you get access to, which means in short, what we are trying to demonstrate here is whichever modules you see here, you have every rights to create those accounts, create those groups, give permissions, and assign institute. These are the 4 steps we did. Create an account, create a group. Why we create a group? Let's say I have given access here, right? You see so many modules we have. So let's say we have 5 new users that need access. So, and they only need student management access. So what an admin will do every time he or she has to go to the account and give manually all of this. If you create a group, simply go to the group and add that member. For example, now we go back as Nadeem mentioned that let's say most of the work done by the level 1. So we go here, privilege to the student, to the account, and we simply say also, you see types of only view, add, edit, and delete. So okay, these changes are done for L1 student. Now I go back, log out. Now you will see before L1 only had student management. Now you will see he has access to full system. You see, almost all modules are disabled only to that which he has access to. You see now, this profile L1 now has access to student management, student reports, TC, statistic. Earlier, we only saw student. So this is what I was trying to demonstrate. Before we get into question answer, again, I'll just show you what we did. We went to users, we created an account, then we went to the group, we created a group, then we went to user group permission, we assigned what permission should be provided to L1, L2, L3. Or 4th level, we went and said what institute he or she should have access to, whether it is Jayanagar branch or HBR. So this, I tried to showcase that how all of this are related, interrelated, and how you can benefit from this system providing access to the end user. Any questions now? Before going into questions, let me close, stop the recording.